Good, happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. It's Sunday, March 29, 2020. Let's begin this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. We have a lot of political news to get to, so let's get started. First up, concerned about residents, volunteers. Conway considers drive-through for April 14th voting session. Also, non-consideration yet of changes to June 3rd to the 12th filing period for state election officials say. While most New Hampshire communities held their town meetings as scheduled earlier in March, two communities have upcoming voting sessions in mid-April. One of them is contemplating a unique alternative to a postponement drive-through voting. Conway and Merrimack were scheduled to hold their voting sessions on April 14th, but the coronavirus outbreak increasingly intensely and Governor Sununu issuing a stay-at-home order banning gatherings of no more than 10 people. Changes are in the works for those two voting locations. State senators taking individual responsibility after Fuller Clark announcement. Senator Tom Sherman, Seacoast physician, tested negative for COVID-19 after driving Fuller Clark home. Since our earlier report this week on a state senator's reaction to the news that her husband of Senator Martha Fuller Clark tested positive for coronavirus, we had the opportunity to speak with Tom Sherman, a gerontologist. After having contact with Fuller Clark and after she announced her husband's test results, Sherman said he was tested and the results were negative, but he has a plea for Granite Staters: stay home. Poll shows Granite Staters overwhelmingly approve of Sununu's handling of the crisis. UNH Survey Center survey shows bipartisan support for Governor's COVID-19 response performance. Granite Staters overwhelmingly approve of the way Governor Chris Sununu has so far handled the COVID-19 crisis, but have different views of President Donald Trump's performance, according to a poll released on Friday. Former Rep. White House named to key Trump administration Homeland Security post. Former State Rep. Josh Whitehouse, a Farmington, is now working in a key post for President Donald Trump's White House. Whitehouse is the Trump administration's liaison to the Department of Homeland Security, overseeing dozens of White House appointed employees. He's been on the job for about 2 weeks. Back and forth between Trump and states in the battle over coronavirus. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News / Good Morning America.
For a little appreciation this morning, suggesting Some states aren't grateful for the help they're receiving. ABC's Rachel Scott joins us from the White House with more on this part of the story. Good morning, Rachel.
Eva, good morning. Yes, President Trump is firing back at governors who have been critical of his administration's response to the pandemic, even telling the vice president that if they aren't appreciative, don't even bother reaching out.
All I want them to do, very simple, I want them to be appreciative.
Overnight, several states are in desperate need of medical supplies as the president feuds with governors he views as unappreciative.
We need help, and at the very least, we don't need people standing in our way from getting it.
As COVID-19 spreads, President Trump has singled out the governors of Washington State and Michigan, slamming Washington's Governor Jay Inslee as a failed presidential candidate and claiming Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer isn't doing enough.
All she does is sit there and blame the federal government. She doesn't get it done, and we send her a lot.
The president even going as far to tell the vice president not to reach out to the state's leaders he views as disrespectful.
Personal attacks are never something that I've engaged in. It's not something I'm going to participate in now. I need help out of the federal government. We all do.
And President Trump today will be heading to Virginia to see off the USNS Comfort. The 1,000-bed hospital ship will be heading to New York to help deal with the crisis there, bringing along with it critical supplies. Whit?
Rachel Scott at the White House, our thanks to you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for watching this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics with Riley King. And I hope you all have a great week ahead of you, everyone. Goodbye.